Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jay Kohn. Janelle is off tonight. In Wyoming, the polls closed just 3 hours ago, but already some campaigns are refocusing their attention on November. The voting today decides who will advance to face off for Wyoming's governor, U.S. House and U.S. Senate race this fall. Let's take a look at the latest results in the Republican primary for governor. Current Wyoming Treasurer Mark Gordon is in the lead at this hour. Businessman Foster Freese, who spent $2.5 million of his own money, running a second place, 26% of the vote. But he's trailing by some 6,000 votes. And trial attorney Harriet Hageman is running in third. Now, the other three GOP candidates, Sam Galiotis, Taylor Haynes, and Bill Dolan, all divvying up the remaining votes. So we can tell you just moments ago, the Associated Press, the New York Times, and Politico, a Washington, D.C. online newspaper, now projecting Mark Gordon to be the winner in Wyoming's six-way governor's race. But we can tell you the vote continues to be counted at this hour. Current Democratic state legislator Mary Throne projected to be the winner in the Democratic governor's race in Wyoming. She'll advance to the general election in November. She leads with 74% of the votes over the other three candidates. Already tonight, incumbent U.S. Senator John Barrasso has been projected the winner in his primary race. He's garnering 65% of the vote in Wyoming. He did face opposition from 5 other candidates. One, though, dropped out within the last 24 hours. Barrasso's top challenger, Dave Dodson, wound up with 29% of the vote. So Barrasso will face Democrat Gary Trauner in November. Trauner was unopposed in the Democratic primary. And in the U.S. House race in Wyoming, incumbent Republican Liz Cheney, daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney, will now advance in November. She talked up an easy win tonight against 2 challengers, getting 68% of the vote. Cheney will take on the winner of the Democratic U.S. House primary between Greg Hunter and Travis Helm. At this hour, it's Hunter leading with 60% of the vote over Helm. You can follow these results right now online for you at ktvq.com and get the latest in all of the races in the Wyoming primary. Montana's Supreme Court has ruled that Green Party candidates will not be included on the Montana ballot in November. It was late today the state's highest court upheld District Judge James Reynolds' decision of last month that invalidated about 80 signatures that were used to qualify the Green Party for the ballot. Without those signatures, the Green Party falls short of the minimum number needed in its qualifying petitions, so their candidates now will not appear on the ballot. The party had 5 candidates, including 1 each in Montana's U.S. House, U.S. Senate races, but the issue really isn't totally settled yet. The Green Party still has a federal court lawsuit that seeks to reinstate its candidates. And the deadline for Montana's Secretary of State to certify the ballots for printing comes up on Thursday of this week. That ruling today from the court came in the form of a brief order, but the court says it will have a full opinion out in due course. In a move to bolster America's coal industry, the Trump administration has unveiled its new Affordable Clean Energy Rule. That proposed rule rewrites the pollution standards for the nation's power plants, a move that could keep aging coal-fired plants like those at Colstrip running longer. The EPA's new Affordable Clean Energy Rule would give states more flexibility to achieve reductions in greenhouse gas emissions, but the critics say it's a controversial move that puts public health at risk. Acting EPA Administrator Andrew Wheeler says this new proposal will enable the states to build clean, affordable, and reliable energy portfolios and could save the nation's power sector up to $400 million a year in compliance costs. As expected, this proposed rule sparking immediate reaction across the nation. Here in Billings, the past chair of the Northern Plains Resource Council tells Q2 the goal of giving more flexibility to the states is really a red herring.
The Clean Power Plan, as proposed by the Obama administration, gave a lot of flexibility to states on how to achieve reductions in carbon pollution. So they gave a lot of flexibility how you do it, but there was some sort of target that needed to be met. Basically, what the changes to this rule have done is basically eliminated any targets. So all you're left is with flexibility, but flexibility to do almost nothing.
Taking the opposite view, though, Congresswoman Liz Cheney of Wyoming and Montana Congressman Greg Gianforte. Cheney says, quote, ensuring the reliability of our power grid by supporting coal, a crucial baseload power source, is an economic and national security priority. While Congressman Gianforte says he welcomes the new rule, which he says, quote, replaces the burdensome, costly Obama-era mandate with a rule that's designed to empower states and promote American energy dominance, and protect our environment. Elsewhere in news today, Michael Cohen, President Trump's former attorney, has reached a plea deal with the Justice Department. This deal comes months after Cohen's office and home were raided by the FBI. The latest tonight from Angelica Alvarez in Washington.
President Trump's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, reached a plea deal with the Department of Justice.
These are very serious charges and reflect a pattern of lies and dishonesty over an extended period of time.
Cohen pled guilty to 8 counts. 5 counts of tax evasion, 1 count of making false statements to a financial institution, 1 count of willfully causing unlawful corporate contribution, and 1 count of making excessive campaign contributions at the request of a candidate. Cohen, also known as the Fixer, arranged hush money to 2 women who claimed they had affairs with President Trump before the 2016 election. The president did not answer questions from reporters about Cohen's plea deal.
Mr. President, what about Michael Cohen?
There was speculation that Michael Cohen would tell special counsel Robert Mueller that then-candidate Trump was aware of that 2016 Trump Tower meeting with a Russian lawyer.
We recently re-engaged Mr. Cohen and his team following press reports that suggested he had advanced knowledge of a June 16th meeting. Mr. Cohen had testified before the committee that he was not aware of any meeting prior to this disclosure in the press last summer.
Cohen's sentencing is scheduled for December 12th, with bail set at $500,000. Angelica Alvarez, CBS News, Washington.
Also today, former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort found guilty on 8 counts, guilty on 5 tax fraud charges, 2 counts of bank fraud, and 1 charge of hiding foreign bank accounts. The presiding judge declared a mistrial on 10 other counts. So far, no sentencing date has been set. President Trump praised Manafort today as a good man and said the verdict has nothing to do with Russian collusion, and then criticized the investigation. Switching gears to the weather scene tonight, Bob McGuire, it's like someone actually cut the smoke out of the sky over Billings today. A lot of fog this morning, but the smoke was pretty much gone.
Yeah, it was fog instead of smoke for a change. But let me show you now, all that fog has started to go away and the smoke has come back. You can see it here on our smoke and wildfire map. Let me show you exactly where we had that big hole in the clouds, though, and hole in the smoke. It basically was right through here, right around the Billings area, all the way to the eastern edge of the state. There was no smoke at all there. But now what's happened, we have kind of the jet stream grabbing some of the smoke from the western fires, kind of taking out into the ocean, following the jet stream into Wyoming, and now as it does so, it's taking some of that moisture now and also some of that smoke, I should say, and pushing it in towards south central Montana tonight. But still, we only have an air quality warning for the extreme northwest corner of the state for Flathead and also Lincoln County. And also you'll notice as far as air quality, it's pretty good across most of the state except up there in the northwest corner. We'll have the rest of your forecast in a few more minutes. Jay?
All right, thank you, Bob. Still to come on tonight's 10 o'clock news, from 2 wheels to 18. This 16-year-old got a major upgrade for his birthday. We'll show you how. Plus, it's a reunion in the land down under that's sure to turn any frown upside down. And later in sports, Scott shows us how Laurel's youth soccer program is delivering varsity title matches.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Kohn and Janelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.